Sky Athena, and in this video I'm going to bring you part 2 of my September wrap. If you haven't seen part 1, I will link that in places if I can. Otherwise you can go to like my channel name and stuff, because that explains a couple of things. Okay, on to the books. Now we get to some graphic novels and memoirs, manga that I read. I read quite a lot of those in September. So the first one is Komi Can't Communicate, Volume 5 by Tomohito Oda. And I also read Volume 6. And I also read Volume 7. So I'm going to be discussing about all 3 of these. If you've been following my channel for a little while, you know that I read the first 4 volumes in this series. I read volumes 3 and 4 in one of the recent months, and then 1 and 2 I think earlier in the year, if I'm not mistaken. And this series is about a socially anxious high school girl named Komi, and she really wants to make friends, but she has social anxiety. So in the presence of most people, she tends to be mute. But everybody at school thinks that she's just kind of cool and aloof, if that makes sense. And in book 1, she meets Tadano, and he is a bit of a wallflower, but he doesn't have social anxiety, and he is going to try to be friends with her and help her get more friends, basically. So, these are volumes 5, 6 and 7. They're enjoyable. Yeah, it's been some time since I read these, so honestly I don't quite remember all that happens, so I guess for my reviews of these I would refer you to the videos in which I talk about the earlier books in this series. But yeah, I'm enjoying this series. Then I read The Adventures of Captain Underpants by Pilkey. This is the full color edition, and I have previously read book 2 in this series from the library in full color edition, and this is book 1. So yeah, it was nice to read like the origin story, like how it all began, because like I said, I read book 2 at the library, then decided to buy them all for myself, because the library I think only had book 2 at the time for whatever reason that I could find. Anyway, so this is about 2 boys named George and Harold, and they like drawing comics, and the principal at their school does not like them. They pull pranks sometimes. It's a kid's book, and I quite liked this, but now we get on to, after that I reread book 2, and so this is not in color, as you can see, so this is what most of the books are like. As far as I could see, only full color editions have been released of books 1 and 2 at the time that I was buying all of these, the ones that are part of the main series. But for some reason the color edition of book 2 was sold out and kept being unavailable, so I just ended up buying the yeah, just the black and white version, or the grayscale version. And this was nice to reread. But because I had just read book 1, I did see kind of the similarities between them, and so I feel like I didn't enjoy rereading book 2 as much as when I read book 2 for the first time, and it was all new to me, if that makes sense. And so of course now I started at book 1, and because it's been a while since I've read book 2, a lot of this seemed new to me as well. But so I think for an adult, reading them back to back is maybe not the best thing. Yeah, it might be better to leave some more space in between them or something. So yeah, this book 2, I didn't even tell you what this was called, sorry. This is Captain Underpants and the Attack of the Talking Toilets by Pilkey, and now some of this made a lot more sense knowing the backstory from this, but yeah, I think it's nice for some kids, and I enjoyed it as an adult. The reason I started to actually read these was because this day or evening when I felt like reading, I just felt really tired and like mentally very tired. So I wanted something easier for my brain, if that makes sense. So I feel like these kinds of like kids books work particularly well for me when I feel that way, because then I'm just not up for books with like really complex adult themes and such. So this is then something that I can still enjoy reading and understand, if that makes sense. Then I read Books Are Rubbish, and it is part of the Supertato series, and it is by Sue Hendra and Paul Linnet. And this is a World Book Day book. It is like a really short picture book. But it involved books, so yeah. This is nice for really young kids, I think. Yeah, for me as an adult, I guess. I mean, I enjoyed reading it, but like, you read it very quick. Yeah, these World Book Day books, I live in the Netherlands, so I think when you live in the UK, they're probably easier to find, especially around when it is World Book Day there. Because to find these in the Netherlands, you have to really like online order them at the time that they're coming out, just before it. Otherwise they're normally all sold out. The next book that I read is Sonny Rolls the Dice by Jennifer L. Holm and Matthew Holm, and coloring by Lark Pien. This is book 3 in the like series about Sonny. There's books 1 and 2. I read books 1 and 2 earlier this year. There's a video in which I talk about it. This is book 3, and I liked it. This has kind of like a friendship theme going through it, because Sunny is trying to make it through middle school, and she has her best friend named Deb, but her best friend starts liking different things than what Sunny likes, and yeah, anyway, so it's about growing up, and I like this, but I kind of missed like the slightly heavier themes that were in book 1 and 2. I would have liked to hear more about that specific plot aspect, but it's spoilers for books 1 and 2, so I don't want to tell you. I think you can pretty much read this book on its own, to be honest, since it hardly referred back to books 1 and 2, a little bit, but not much. So this was enjoyable, but I didn't like it quite as much as the other two. So. Then I read Stepping Stones by Lucy Knisley, and this is book 1 in the Peapod Farm series. Lucy Knisley has written quite a few graphic memoirs, and I have read most of them. We're going to discuss another one in a minute. Anyway, this is a fictional story about a girl who has to leave the city to move to a farm with her mother, to move in with her mother's new boyfriend, his family, and she doesn't want to leave the city and live on a farm and do the farm chores, and she doesn't really get along with the boyfriend's children. So it was a nice like middle grade book. I enjoyed it a lot. I have lived on a farm, on my parents' farm. Now it isn't a farm as such, but we do have chicken. Well, I mean yeah, I don't know how to explain that, but chicken, we've had goats, guinea pigs, rabbits, we have a dog. So we don't have like sheep or cows or anything, but one of the things that the main character Jen has to do is take care of the chicken, and I really like that. Jen not so much. It's nice and colourful, and yeah, things happen to Jen, and Jen changes as we go throughout the book. I don't know what's going to happen in further books or how many there will be or anything. I only found out it was book 1 in the series by looking it up on Goodreads, to be honest. But I liked this book. Yeah, I thought it was quite an enjoyable read. And then the last book of today's part 2 video is French Milk by Lucy Knisley. This is her debut book, her debut graphic memoir. Now I have read and liked almost all of her other memoirs. There's only one, her newest one at this time of recording, that I haven't read. I did buy it. It hasn't arrived yet. So this is her debut work, and I am sorry to say that I didn't like this. Because I loved all of her other memoirs. Some I liked, some I loved. So now I had read on Goodreads some reviews beforehand that people said that this one was by far the one they liked the least. And I have to agree with that. I actually contemplated DNFing it several times throughout the book. Now this book is about Lucy and her mother are taking a trip to France for 6 weeks, Paris, and it's basically what they did, and but drawn in pictures. And I don't know, I just remember at the time that I didn't like it. I struggled to get through it, and I thought about DNFing it. First, in the beginning, I was a bit confused whether they had or had not gone on the trip yet, because it confused me a bit based on the images. Every now and then there's like actual pictures in the book, which that's nice, but like, yeah. Now I have been on holidays to France lots of times as a kid, teenager, and also as an adult a few times. Never to Paris. My feeling, at least as a kid, is that Paris was very busy. But yeah, I didn't really, yeah, I don't know. It didn't seem like, a lot of her other memoirs have some more like life lessons in it or something, and it just wasn't that in depth. Like, yeah. That was part 2 of the video. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a comment if you like, and I hope to see you again in part 3. Bye!